This is an ABC News special report.
Good morning, I'm Allison Cossack, and we're coming on the air this morning to tell you that President Trump has confirmed that strikes on Venezuela have been happening over the past few hours. And according to President Trump, that Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been captured in Venezuela. There have been scenes of multiple explosions and low-flying aircraft. All of that heard beginning around 2 a.m. local time in the capital city of Caracas. And the FAA is now banning U.S. commercial flights in Venezuela airspace over what's being called ongoing military activity. This comes after weeks of the U.S. ramping up pressure on the government of President Nicolas Maduro, including seizing 2 oil tankers and conducting deadly military strikes on alleged drug boat smugglers. This week, the Pentagon released video of 2 vessels being hit, saying they were moving along known narco trafficking routes and engaging in narco trafficking. At least 115 people have been killed in more than 30 strikes since September. The U.S. also deploying a large-scale buildup of military forces and assets in the Caribbean, sending the largest, most advanced aircraft carrier in the world, the USS Gerald Ford. It's now part of the 15,000 U.S. troops that are operating in that region. That's in addition to the joint training exercises in Trinidad and Tobago, just 7 miles away from Venezuela. The U.S. is reportedly installing a radar system on that island. In recent weeks, President Trump declaring that Venezuelan airspace should be considered closed in its entirety. Venezuela authorities denouncing that as a colonialist threat that seeks to affect the sovereignty of its airspace. The FAA warned major airlines about a potentially hazardous situation in the skies over Venezuela, citing worsening security and heightened military activity that could threaten aircraft at all altitudes. That prompted 6 international carriers to suspend flights to the capital city of Caracas. And the U.S. recently added Maduro and his government to the State Department's list of the world's most dangerous terrorist organizations. In a pre-taped interview this week, Maduro accused the U.S. of mounting a months-long pressure campaign to force a regime change and to gain access to vast oil reserves. Maduro has also denied having any ties to the drug trade, accusing the U.S. of using the drug smuggling as a way to oust him from office. Let's go to ABC News correspondent Matt Rivers. He joins us live now on the phone. Matt, what are you hearing? What's the latest?
This stunning message, quite frankly, from President Trump posting on Truth Social, where he says the United States has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its president, Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. He goes on to say the operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. News conference later today at 11 a.m. That is absolutely stunning news and what is a major escalation. You know, in just the last few hours, the torrent of news that has been coming out of this situation has really just been one surprise after the next. You know, a series of very large explosions, not in some random parts of Venezuela, not on port facilities as many had suspected, but right in the heart of Caracas and the states surrounding Caracas, where we know the heart of Venezuela's military apparatus, its state security apparatus is, and where Nicolas Maduro himself has governed from for well over a decade now as the leader of Venezuela. So those explosions, people running in the streets, videos of helicopters in the air, certainly stunning images overnight in and of themselves, which led the Venezuelan government, or what is left of it apparently at this point, to put out a statement saying that it was the U.S. military responsible for this. The president of Colombia nearby had also accused the United States of doing this, but initially we didn't hear from the U.S. government specifically about what was going on until this post from President Trump on Truth Social, not only announcing that the U.S. military was responsible for these military strikes, which was surprising in and of itself, but certainly not something that was unexpected given the massive force buildup that we have seen from the U.S. military over the past several months in this region. Strikes were always a possibility given that force buildup that we've seen. But what is really going to stun the world, I think, is what happened, according to President Trump, that they were able to capture Nicolas Maduro and his wife and fly them out of the country. Remember, the United States has long accused Maduro of being a drug trafficker, of being the head of a group called the Cartel de los Soles, which is a loosely organized group in Venezuela that the United States says is responsible for pushing lots of cocaine into the Caribbean and up to the United States. There was a $50 million reward on his head at this point for information leading to his capture and arrest. And so it does appear the president is leaning into that, talking about the operation being done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement, perhaps seeking to fend off questions down the road that might come up about the legality of strikes like this. So he's leaning into the law enforcement element of this. But there is no question this is a stunning overnight series of events in the country of Venezuela, not just these strikes themselves, but also the apparent capture and flying out of the country, the head of government of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife.